YouTube, tech bros and tech baddies, what's going on? Back with another vid. I appreciate you guys clicking on this one today. I'm gonna shift gears today. I'm not gonna talk about anything IT with this video. I want to talk about something that question somebody asked me, and I want to give my honest opinion on this. And obviously, for everybody, if you have an opinion on it as well, I'm looking forward to your comments on this as well. But the question was asked to me is that why, in my opinion, why do I think relationships are failing today? And I think it's a very complex question. And I think that there are a lot of nuances to it that a lot of us won't really admit. But I am going to admit this in this video. I told you that my channel was going to be, it's not just going to be all tech. We'll talk about some serious stuff too, and get perspective, because it's nice to really get, perspective on things, on what other people are thinking. It's nice to hear what other people, what other people think about this too. But I just want to give you guys the two or three reasons why I think today that relationships are failing the way that they are. And surprisingly enough, I'm not even going to tell you it's social media, because most people on the internet will tell you it is social media. But I think that's kind of an easy cop out on that. I'm not even gonna go into that. I think a lot of us know that the impact social media has on the dating life for all of us. And again, this is for men and for women. I don't think that this is a one size fits all. Well, no, I do think this is a one size fits all, but I think this can really apply to, again, both genders in this case. So, but let's go ahead and get into it. So the first reason why I think relationships are failing is because most people have unrealistic standards and expectations. Now that I'm going to tell you, I think a lot of that comes from social media. And I think that we live in a day and age where people see other people experience things and they do things with the opposite sex. Think people that are either their boyfriends or girlfriends, husbands, wives, they see these things and they say, that is what I should have, or that is what the word I hear a lot is, I deserve that, right? And I think when you talk about having standards and expectations, I don't think that there's anything wrong with anybody having standards. We should all be able to have the standards of the kind of relationship that we want. And I think the expectations can be a little bit tricky when you expect certain things from people and they don't, I guess, give you what it is that you expected from them, or maybe you expected them to do something for you that you would essentially do for them, and signals kind of get crossed there. But I will say that some of the standards and the expectations that we see today, or that we hear from the opposite sex, and again, whether it be from a man to a woman or a woman to a man, a lot of it is extremely insane. And I think a lot of it is extremely, it really doesn't make any sense. And most of the time, a lot of the people get a lot of their expectations from social media, right? And I will say this, for anybody watching, if you're thinking that you should get the most of your relationship advice from people on social media, guys, I will tell you to just knock it off. Don't do it. I think we all need to really just stop that, because we have to understand, even though you guys are watching this on a YouTube video, but a lot of times, guys, social media is not real. And a lot of times you're either just seeing the highlights or you're seeing people's extremely low points, right? So that's my first reason why I think relationships are failing today. The second reason why I think relationships are failing is because everyone, and I mean everyone, has trauma from their past relationships. Again, most of us have been in relationships. Most of us have dated someone, whether you date, men or women or whatever the case is. And going back to the first thing that I said, there was some type of expectation or level that you believe that the relationship should have been on, or the expectation you expected to receive from the person that you were dealing with, and it didn't happen. And for most people, whatever those expectations that they had, it messed them up so bad to the point where they're extremely guarded, trying to move forward for their next relationship, or when they get into the next relationship, knowing damn well that they probably shouldn't have moved on yet because they weren't ready here and they weren't ready here. but they moved on with someone else, not resolving any of the things that they needed to resolve from previous relationships. And this is one thing that I like to tell people, is that you cannot bring stuff from your previous relationship into your new one, because it's not fair to the person that you're dealing with. The new person you're dealing with should get you at 100%. And if they start doing something wrong or they make mistakes or whatever, and maybe they go down from there, fine. But everyone should have a clean slate going forward. But I do believe that a lot of the times is that the past trauma, the hurt, the pain that we've experienced from people that we either, we thought loved us, or we thought we were going to spend the rest of our lives with, it just didn't go that way. And it's unfortunate, because with all that trauma, you wind up, in a lot of cases, and I can speak for myself on this, you wind up messing up solid relationships that you're in right now, because you haven't dealt with the stuff that you had to deal with from previous relationships. And we're talking about maybe a girlfriend or 2 or 3 before. I am speaking of this right now. There's trauma in relationships that, I still have to kind of deal with. There are certain things that I'm just like, wow, like I have to really work on this, because, in order to give someone, your heart, you want to give them your heart at a full 100%. And I think a lot of people today just aren't doing that. So past trauma from relationships are doing that. Oh, the dryer. So we keep it in here. We go live. We're doing it live, guys. So anyway, but I want to finish this up with my last point. The last reason why I believe that relationships are failing today is we tend to harp, as people, we harp on the negatives of relationships, and we don't put enough emphasis on the positives that can come out of relationships. And I think that right there in itself is the problem, is because I think most people think that when you get into a relationship that it's supposed to be perfect. Guys, I want to be very clear when I say this. I don't know in what scripture or what poster or what Disney movie you guys watched or anything like that, but relationships are not supposed to be perfect. I mean, I don't ever remember seeing that anywhere. There's always been things within a relationship that you have to deal with your partner that's not going to go very well. And when you harp too much on the things that the person's not good at, or that they didn't do well, and you don't put more emphasis on the things that they do well, or that they actually get well or do right, you tend to let the negative stuff consume you, and you can't move past it. You don't get a chance to move forward from that. And again, we wind up losing very good people that have been in our lives. Again, I can attest to that for myself. I have done that on several occasions where, you see something from somebody, and because of something that you thought, you tend to put it on the negative things that they've done, as opposed to saying, what is the positives out of this? And another thing that I try to tell people as well is that you want to, if you're dealing with somebody, if you can deal with the 80% or 90% of the good of that person, if most of what they do is good, and that 10 to 20%, if you can't deal with it, fine. But if you can just try to focus on the 80 to 90% about that person that's good, that makes them great, that gets you through your day, that helps you out, that loves you, that care about you, that respects you. If you can focus more on the 80, 90% that the person does for you versus the 10 to 20% that they don't do well or they didn't get right, guys, I think in relationships we can get a little bit further. So I say all that to say, guys, when it comes to why relationships are failing, those are my reasons. I don't lose hope when it comes to relationships and dating. I think that there's still people out there who want to do it right. And for those of you watching this video, I'm assuming that you want to get it right too. And there's probably things that you can think about within relationships that also for you, that you'll say like, this is, I think, the reason why a lot of the relationships aren't going well today. But guys, I think, like I said, I think that we can get it right. We just have to all work on ourselves. We have to all do the work. We have to put in the work to become the best version of ourselves. And once we do that, guys, I believe that relationships, dating, all of those things, the trauma, the anger, and everything like that, I think it'll start to work out for all of us. So listen, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I truly appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one.